Good morning. Here we are at Contour Mortgage Studios with a close friend and a terrific realtor, a well-known realtor in the metro area, Ann Acquaviva. Ann, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here today.
It's great to have you, actually.
Thanks.
We're here to talk about the market or about a lot of aspects of real estate, but I thought a good starting point might be the market. We know the market's changing a little, it's shifting. You do most of your business in the boroughs in Queens, Whitestone. What do you see happening? What's going on right now? How would you assess what's going on?
Well, it is very unique, honestly, because things that appear a certain way, for instance, interest rates up, right? You would think there would be a pullback. Prices are continuing to escalate because the demand is so high and inventory is so short. So it's something we've not seen that we're navigating through right now, and it's very difficult for both buyers and sellers to understand what's going on because it's different, right now.
Absolutely. And I think something that's also probably keeping prices higher is the cost of renting, right? The rental market has been
It's unbelievable.
has been so tight. People are paying so much in rent, they could be paying a mortgage.
You know, I think that that's true. The rents in Northeast Queens right now, I mean, we're looking at one bedrooms that are $3,000, $2,900. The biggest challenge, I should say, really with buyers, the affordability is there. It's just getting the down payment together. With the cost of living right now, inflation through the roof, it's just very difficult to save. So they're basically forced into that atmosphere.
Good morning. We're here at Contour's Mortgage Studio with a great friend of ours, Ann Acquaviva, who we've known many years now. We appreciate you coming in, Ann, and talking to us a little bit about what's going on in the market.
One question that I wanted to begin with, Ann, is where do you see the market going? I mean, it's changed a lot. There's still lots of buyers and lots of sellers, but there seems to be a little change. Where do you see that?
I still think there has been a lot of changes, but I still think that there's opportunity, right? So prices are very high. However, interest rates shot up, and some of the buyers are waiting on the sidelines. So this presents opportunity for buyers as well, because you will not have the type of bidding wars as before. So, it's crazy to say, however, there's opportunity because you're still getting the high prices, right? But a buyer still has an advantage to get in there and not be with a line out the door and possibly get their offer accepted where they wouldn't before. So I think it's a win-win.
Right.
Beautiful.
And just to be clear, it's not so much that the market is coming down, it's that the rate of growth is leveling off, right?
Correct.
We're not seeing 15% a year, 20% a year anymore.
No, it's stabilizing. But you know what? This is good. It's something that needed to happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we all feel like this in the industry. A balanced market is a better market for everybody. That's how I see it going forward. Yep.
Absolutely. I'd agree with that. And one question I have is, how do you think the rental market is impacting the real estate market and people wanting to buy?
Geez, you know what? The rents in Northeast Queens right now I've never seen anything. One bedrooms, $2,800, $2,700, $2,900.
Wow.
So the truth be told, it is definitely more economical to purchase something because you're building equity. And I think that's what's driving the market. I think a lot of renters, it has gotten so expensive
They got fed up with it.
that they ended up purchasing a home. And I think that had a lot to do with the last 2 years in driving the market.
Right. They're recognizing how high rents are and that they could be paying a mortgage, right?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Sometimes lower, to be honest, sometimes lower.
And again, with the different types of down payment assistance that exist out there with the state of New York, I mean, it's still a perfect time to buy.
It is a great opportunity to buy. It really is, because you're not getting a huge decline. You're just getting the decline in the rate of growth. You're not getting a huge price decline.
That's exactly right.
So even though interest rates are up a little bit, what's the alternative? Spend $3,000 a month?
But you're not seeing the overbidding that was going on before.
It's changed.
Yeah, it has changed. It depends, though.
Right.
If you have a hot property that's completely renovated
Right.
and ready to go, that's the buyer profile today. People are working, right? They want to get into a house and not have to deal with the construction. So those properties are on and off quickly, still with many offers, not like last year, but
Right.
it does exist. Everything else is kind of stabilized,
Right.
which is really good.
Right.
But the market's still moving, still a great time.
That's
Beautiful.
good.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So, Ann, one question I'd like to pose to you as a realtor. We have buyers that are on the sidelines. How do you prepare them? I mean, we know what we do on the mortgage side, but a lot of them can't seem to take that first step. How do you prepare people?
Well, there's so many things. I think there's a lot of buyers right now on the sidelines, but in terms of preparation up front, even before they come to the mortgage people, you have to analyze. You have to look at your spending right now, right? There's all sorts of miscellaneous. We have the latte factor. You just have to tighten your belt a little bit so that you can start putting some of that savings away in preparation too, and it adds up pretty quickly. Once you have that in line, then it's good before you even do a process, have a conversation with you or Bridget about, so that you can look at the whole picture and you could give advice to them down the road, what they may want to cut, maybe what they can do in some of the areas to pay off debt. Don't lease a car. There's simple things that people aren't aware of because let's face it, how many times do you buy a house in a lifetime? So we assume sometimes that people know these things, but they really don't.
When we go through the pre-approval process, we're highlighting certain areas. If we see it on their credit, you want to treat your credit as if yesterday you started by looking at these bills. You're not going to overextend yourself. Yesterday was the day that I stopped using my credit cards. That's what I tell people. Okay, and then when we look at their finances, we like to tell them that you have to live cheap. You're buying a home. You're making one of the biggest decisions of your life. You want to be able to have extra money once you're in that home. Right, Bridget?
Absolutely. Young kids today think, we're all homeowners, right?
Yep.
But young kids today think they're still going to go on 3 vacations a year, have a mortgage, raise a family, and we know that's not reality. They'll grow into their house, right? They'll wind up, young people will wind up making a little more money, but that perception that they're going to be able to do everything, that their lifestyle isn't going to change, we know that's not true for the average person. There are people where their lifestyle doesn't change, let's face it. But the average person, their lifestyle, does change a little bit, but that's a great thing. So I tell clients, you're not going to go out to dinner, you're going to invite people over and have a barbecue. What's wrong with that? Doesn't
It's
get
different.
better.
Sure.
Yeah, home ownership, you're building equity for the future, right? So we've all gone through it at some
Right,
point.
right.
There's a big benefit. So, the benefit far outweighs the sacrifices, I think, for
Absolutely.
the long term. And it's the best way to build wealth for the future,
You got to make a
without a
commitment.
doubt. Yeah,
Absolutely.
commitment for sure.
Absolutely. And I know that co-ops are a large part of the Queens market. Maybe you can explain to us, what is a co-op?
Okay, so a co-op is actually short for cooperative. It is part of a community, a corporation. So a buyer of a co-op is actually a shareholder within that corporation. So you own shares of stock, which is very different than owning a single-family home where you have your deed and that's yours. And then there's rules and bylaws and things that you abide by. So it's a form of ownership, but you're part of the corporation, so to speak.
It's a different legal entity.
Correct, it is.
And why don't you tell us and our viewers, who's buying these co-ops?
Wow. Co-ops are very different than they were years ago. So right now we have 2 different groups of people. We have people selling their homes, downsizing, especially in Queens, we don't have a lot of options like adult communities and things. So this gives the downsizer of a home an option. The other one is renters coming in, right? So prices have gotten so expensive. This gives them the ability to build equity and start, living in a type of home ownership situation. And that usually 5-7 years, I see a lot of the younger buyers in there before they leverage, save, and then they move on to the next house. So, the dichotomy is you have this retirement and the baby starting out. Everybody is buying a co-op right now.
And what would you say the 3 things people should consider when purchasing a co-op?
First, board approval process. I know many people, buyers, are concerned about that. They don't necessarily like it. It is there for your protection, right? That vetting process protects all the shareholders. Let's face it, we all want to know who our neighbors are. I think the second thing is the maintenance. People don't always realize what's included in that maintenance. You have taxes, insurance, utilities, snow removal, trash removal, and you also get the benefit of the tax write-off, usually about 40%. And then lastly, I think the renovation part of it. Many people are under the impression when you have a co-op, I can't do this, I can't do that. Yeah. You can do pretty much whatever is allowable by guidelines, providing that you have a licensed and insured contractor and you file those at the maintenance company. But I have seen walls come down, new kitchens, new bath, new floors. All of this, by doing any of these improvements, you're going to raise your equity because the improvements are just like home ownership, right? You put the investment in and you can sell higher later. And all in all, I think it's a great investment, co-ops. So Charlie, tell me, what are the 3 most important things to not do when you start this process?
Well, first thing, no car loans, no boat loans. We hear that too many times. People go out, boom, hit their credit card for a new car and boat. You're buying a house. You don't want to do that. You want to live cheap, okay? You don't want to close down your credit cards. You want to make sure that your credit stays perfect. And most importantly, when you have a question, call your loan officer. Reach out to him. If you think you shouldn't be doing it, call me. Call Bridget.
Probably shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Thanks, Charlie. That's really good advice. And Bridget, what about what to do? 3 most important things that buyers should do in the process.
Well, I think the best advice I could give is focus on your financial situation, right? Keep saving money, save as much money as you can. Make sure you pay your credit cards on time. Don't do any foolish purchases because that's only going to come back to bite you. So, but the one thing which I see all the time, Ann, is people don't know where they want to live. We're out on Long Island. They don't know what town. Is it north, south? Should we go out to Suffolk, stay in Nassau? I think if they could just try and narrow down where they want to live, I think that's really an important thing. It determines the pre-approval, the taxes.
Sure, exactly.
And
yes.
Something a lot of people don't know is that you have a background in interior design.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you should do in preparation of selling your home, co-op, condo, whatever you're selling? What should you be doing?
3 things.
Most
the 3 most important things, honestly, are decluttering, which we hear all the time, right? Eliminate personal pictures, photos, knickknacks out. The second, if it needs to be painted, paint. 1 gallon, $45 is the single best investment when you're selling your home. And lastly, clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And I could tell you this, things can be old, but if they're clean,
right,
people see beyond that.